welcome to Grandma B's Busy Life. I'm Brenda, and today I'm going to be showing you how I make my buttermilk pound cake. I'm going to make it with gluten-free flour, and then I'm going to make another one with regular flour and show you how they look, how they compare, how they're different. The recipe's exactly the same, whether you use a 1-to-1 gluten-free flour or all-purpose flour. So let's see what we need. The ingredients you'll need are eggs, we're going to separate those, butter, salt, baking soda. It calls for lemon extract, and I just have a little bit left in the bottom of this bottle, so I'm going to use some vanilla extract also. This is the gluten-free flour, sugar, and then all-purpose flour. I also need lemon zest. It calls for fresh lemon zest, but mine is dried. Whenever I have a lemon that I use the juice for, I zest it first and then put it on a paper towel and put a paper towel over it, and in a couple of days it dries like this. It is smaller than when it's fresh because the moisture is removed. So I'm going to use less than the recipe calls for, but I don't think I have enough for both loaves, so I'm going to use some lime zest so that I have enough for both loaves. Alright, 1 stick softened butter and 1 cup of sugar. And I'm just going to mix that up till it's light and fluffy. So while this is mixing, I'm separating my eggs and I'm getting my dry ingredients together. The flour, salt, and baking soda, and whisking those so that they're smooth. Once the eggs are fully combined, I'm going to alternate the dry ingredients and the buttermilk until it's fully incorporated. Always need to scrape down the bowl. Alternating the dry and wet ingredients makes it so that the flour gets fully mixed in without being overmixed, which will cause your baked goods to be very dense. It calls for 1.5 teaspoons of lemon extract. I'm using orange extract and vanilla extract because I don't have lemon extract. So I'll be using 1 teaspoon of vanilla and 1/2 teaspoon of the orange extract in each of the loaves, so that at least they'll have the same flavor profile. I'm also going to add 1/2 teaspoon of the lemon zest. I'm actually not going to measure this. I'm just going to sprinkle some in my hand, about half of what's in the lemon bag, and a tiny bit of the lime, just so they're about the same. All right, I'm going to mix that up. All right, now I'm going to whip the eggs and then fold them into this mixture. All right, I whipped the egg whites till they have stiff peaks. Now I'm just going to fold it into the batter as carefully as possible so that I don't deflate any more of the air bubbles than necessary. This makes me think of Schitt's Creek when they try to make, I think they're making a cake or something, and neither one of them can figure out what it means to fold something in, and they get into a big fight over it. I love that show. I watched it all, binge watched it in just a few weeks, all 6 seasons. All right, that looks good. I'm going to put it in a greased pan. I'm going to be careful to use a spray that is gluten-free so that I don't contaminate the entire loaf. Now I'm going to do the exact same thing, but instead of using the gluten-free flour, I'm going to use the all-purpose flour. The process is exactly the same. The measurements are exactly the same. Oven is heated to 325. And then this one is the gluten-free and this one is the regular. And I'm going to put them in the oven in that same way so that I can make sure I keep them separated. I'm going to set the timer for 45 minutes, but they may take up to an hour. So this is what they look like all finished. So this one is the gluten-free and this is the regular one. I think the gluten-free one actually looks better. It's perfectly golden where it's supposed to be golden, but not the whole thing. But the regular one looks delicious too. Let me cut into them and show you what they look like on the inside and then do a taste test. All right, let's look at what they look like. This is the gluten-free, and this one is the regular. They are equally fluffy. The gluten-free is rounded on top and the regular is not, but they're both just as squishy and soft. When I cut them, the texture was identical. So now I'm gonna try them. I've tried them both. I know they're both amazing, but I'm gonna do it with a little different perspective. This time I'm gonna try it really paying attention to the flavors, but I made a mistake. On the regular bread with the all-purpose flour, I forgot to put in the lemon zest. So it will have a little bit different flavor, but I'm sure it'll still be delicious. So this is the gluten-free. It's just really buttery and sweet. It's just good. It's delicious. Okay, this is the regular one. Interesting. The regular bread has more of a crust on the outside. Not in a bad way, it's just a little crisper, but both are so good. And in fact, if I didn't know that they were different recipes, well, if I didn't know that one was gluten-free and one wasn't, I would not be able to tell you which was which. Amazing recipe, especially if you need gluten-free. I love this recipe. In fact, when I made it last time, Grandpa B said, this is the best cake you've ever made. So give it a try. I'll put the recipe in the description box below. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't. I would love to have you part of my YouTube family. I hope you have a great day. We'll see you again soon. I like them both. So good.